Morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's edition of the MPC Markets Morning Call. I'm Mark Gardner. It's the 19th of February. Hawkish Fed really took the heat out of an early rally. Everyone started buying the dip again in tech. I think that narrative around AI is going to kill all software is really starting to soften. All I could see was articles last night, really around at least saying that it was at minimum overdone. But look, the Fed did come out after, they've had 3 rate cuts and the market largely expected them to do another couple. But everyone, the consensus on the Fed was that 3 is probably the appropriate level and is enough. So saw Micron bounce back. It's the first time we've seen green in this area of the heat map with these software as a service businesses. Over the last couple of days, as green as they look, there is still a very, very long way back. But the rest of the market really just, fairly mixed overall. I think we'll have, we're still going to have demand for memory. We're still going to have demand for chips, even if we have a little bit of a back off in CapEx. And these software companies particularly, you got to sort of sort out between which ones are, which ones have actually got a moat and which ones are just going to get replaced. So it's fairly common sense, but just go to Mosaic and you can see we've got an article in there. I've written an article on livewiremarkets.com as well. You can find me there and follow me there. But yeah, it just sort of goes into a fair bit more detail as to the software companies you should be trying to buy the dip on and the ones you should probably avoid forever. Oil did have a bit of a bounce back as well, sort of mid-session. That's why, these guys, Exxon and Chevron, etc., are all up here today, up 4.5%. Basically, the US-Iran negotiations, not having a bit of a bumpy ride, truth be told, with Trump saying he's negotiating it and Iran saying they are. Basically, I don't think anyone's telling the truth, to be honest. So I'm not really bothering to follow that until. But there's been troop movements into the area, which do get tracked quite regularly. So on Twitter and things like that. So I think that's probably more reliable than to follow what people are saying. Yesterday, we had really good results from quite a few. Technology One was up about 7 or 8%. Net wealth was up as well. There was I think BHP and the likes took a little bit of a breather. The banks were sort of fairly supportive of the market. That's why we're up towards record highs. Chinese New Year, obviously, going on at the moment. So we've got Hong Kong and China shut there. But the Dow eked out again, as did the Nasdaq at up 0.8, but they were up considerably more, but still down for the week in all of those. We've got these technical signals really quite neutral to, neutral to sell, really. It is fairly mixed. It's just it feels like the US market's just hanging in there by a thread, truth be told, but I guess we'll see what happens as more economic data comes out, later in the week. So Friday we've got PCE data. That's the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, and then obviously mysteriously, that CPI number was low, despite the fact that everything seems to feed to the contrary. But there'll be, I think there's some GDP data as well. It's advanced numbers, so they can be quite volatile. Gold and silver, platinum, copper, and crude all made recoveries. Lithium and uranium as well. But look, it's just still this silver market, realistically, until it breaks the low or the high of the race, of this year, you're pretty much just better off just ignoring it. I think essentially that absolute clean out in that COMEX and the fact that now no one's going to be taking delivery of anything, I think that market is largely irrelevant. So we'll need things to sort of settle down in the open interest to increase there before we start taking any clues from price action, because it is just like a headless chook at the moment. We saw Bitcoin down another 2%. US dollar rose a little bit, but that'll be on the back of that hawkish Fed. Aussie dollar drifting off a touch, which should be good for a few of our offshore companies that are listed here. Wesfarmers, Group N pattern line, Group EBIT also. Kmart and Bunnings were really, they said they're in line. There was a beat overall. DPS was in line as well. Hub24 had an outstanding result, pretty much beat on absolutely every metric known to man, and we did see a really positive result there from Net Wealth yesterday. So be interesting to see how those guys go today overall. But if you go to mosaic.mpcmarkets.com.au or you have a look on our socials, you can click through to those articles and get a bit more of an in detail and an in-depth view before the market opens, which is not that far away now. But yeah, I think we'll probably have an overall a fairly positive day here. So of the these fixed coupon notes, nearly all of the earnings reports are out of the way now for all of these companies. All of them are reported really well, and been and been quite positive. I think Xero is about the only one left, but it's an out of season. But we've had some fairly outstanding results overall, but they've shot up now. So we're and with volatility falling a touch, we would probably be expecting the lower end of the range here for ASX banks, probably at 9.5, and this blue chip or quality probably 12 to 12.5 probably. This will close tomorrow, Friday, the 20th of February. And if you've got any interest, make sure you register today, and so we can get you all set up. But these things pay quarterly, cash to your bank account. They're sort of like hybrids, but better. Basically, they yield better overall. So. Yeah, we will. It's been an incredibly popular product from for all of our clients. Quite often we get rid of our dividend stocks and go straight into fixed coupons. So if you want to catch Mosaic, you can scan that. We will give you the first month free. Costs less than a coffee a day to get 4 recommendation services, and to be honest, you're getting all these earnings updates as well. When you click on those articles and go to the website, you will get 2 or 3 as a bit of a sample. And then after the third one, you'll have to start to pay or get a subscription there. So just be mindful of that. But you can get a little bit of a sample by looking through those morning updates. We've also done a couple of really good articles in the investor education section as well on how to handle these really whippy markets from a practical standpoint. There's stuff on technical analysis. There's stuff on which software SaaS companies to buy and which ones to avoid, etc. So do yourself a favour, scan the code or go to mosaic.mpcmarkets.com.au and have a look, and it might get get on top of things and supercharge your investing. But that really wraps it up for this morning. For those of you who watch AusBiz, I will be doing the ASX version of the call today at 12 o'clock with Howard Coleman from Team Invest. So unlikely to be many double buys, if any. But yeah, you can tune in at ausbiz.com.au and watch the call at 12 o'clock. Have a great day, everyone. We'll speak tomorrow. General advice warning. The content presented in this presentation is intended for informational purposes only and provides general advice only. It does not take into account your personal objectives, financial situation, or specific needs. This information should not be the sole resource when making investment decisions. We strongly recommend you seek the advice of a financial professional.